everybody, welcome to Parent Cafe Live. So we're going to start a series of 20 videos between now and the first week in June. And what we're going to be focusing on is mini lessons, particularly from Dr. Becky Bailey, who created Conscious Discipline. So everything we're going to be talking about has some tools for you to use at home. I have some that cost a little bit of money that I'll show you, but they also have free printables on the website, Conscious Discipline, that you can use. So what I've done is I've read up on several of her books. So Easy to Love, Difficult to Discipline is a really great book. So it basically looks at you as the parent and some things that need to be present in order for you to have effective parenting. And a lot of it is about like regulating our kids. And in order to regulate our kids, we have to be regulated. And so we have to do some inner reflection to see how we are handling ourselves when we're stressed. We can't expect a child to regulate if we are having, for lack of a better word, a tantrum of our own, which I am very guilty of, having done that with my son on several occasions, and it never goes really well. It makes the situation worse. Another book that she has is called I Love You Rituals, which we will be covering what I Love You rituals are, but there is a lot of rituals and routines involved with the Conscious Discipline program, which makes a lot of sense because kids function way better if they have routines. So if they can know what steps to follow, what your expectations are of them, and that they're achievable and things that they can control, you have a much less stressful environment for you and your kids. There are other books as well. Managing Emotional Mayhem. So the 5 steps for self-regulation. So some of these are also teacher resources. A lot of early education providers use Conscious Discipline. Our Head Start program here in Great Falls does. A lot of, young teachers of young children will have used these resources to help. There's one all about building a classroom. It's called Building Resilient Classrooms. So if you guys have your kids in childcare, you may notice that they have things called like calm down corners or cozy corners, or there's lots of names for it. But basically, instead of timeouts, they get to go to a safe space to regulate themselves. And then there's visual cues in there, which is really nice because our first lesson is about visual routines. So we get to see the importance of what those visual cues are, and they're used throughout Dr. Bailey's program. So today we're going to talk about visual routines. So really we want to support our child's emerging executive functioning skills. So how to organize, plan, be persistent, accomplish things, time management, all of that, right? So as adults, do we need help with our time management skills? Do we need help with to-do lists and keeping on track, staying organized? I know I do. I have a planner that is a written planner. I also have my planner within my calendar, my work email calendar. So I have to have stuff in both of those places. I write to-do lists. Sometimes they call, before a to-do list, you do a brain dump. So you get everything out that's circling in your brain so you don't miss anything. And then you pull from that brain dump to see what needs to be prioritized for the day. Then there is sticky notes, Alexa reminders, Siri reminders, Google Assistant reminders. I'll email myself reminders and to-do lists. I'll ask my husband to remind me to do something. We all need that, right? And so we have executive functioning skills. Our brain, our frontal lobe is fully developed, and our kids aren't. Theirs are not going to be fully developed till they're about 25. So they have a long time to go before they have the full use of their brain capacity. And so they still have a lot more of the emotional stuff back here going on. So they need more cues and reminders to keep on track. Otherwise, they just have big feelings about everything. That's why this book is called Managing Big Emotions. So things we can do so we can support our kids. We can support ourselves with these visual routines. How many of you just dread your bedtime routine, or dread your morning routine, or dread the drop off at school routine, or, you know, there's so many routines through a day. So I want you to think about which ones you would benefit from some support, so you and your child. Once you've thought of that, we're going to talk about how we're going to implement visual routines. So now that you've thought about when it would be, what would be a useful routine for you to make into a visual routine for your child, let's think about how many steps are in there. So it's hard to manage our expectations of a child that should know all of the steps, right? So like, say, brushing their teeth. They should know that they have to put the toothpaste on the toothbrush and put the toothpaste cap back on. They should know to turn the water on and use it. They should know that they have 2 minutes. They should know to turn the water back off. They should know to spit only in the sink, right? Sometimes they don't know this until we've taught them, or we've taught them, but it's just not sinking in yet. So you might need more steps in yours than you would need. So try to remember all of those little intricate things that your child struggles with as you're looking to support whatever this routine is. So as we're building this support and building this nice visual routine so our child can feel empowered, right? Over time, we're going to build executive functioning skills. We're going to implement some time management skills, some organizational skills, and over time, they're going to be able to start putting things in sequence on their own, and there's going to be other routines that will benefit because they'll know that things just happen a certain way and we need to do those a certain way. Otherwise, it just doesn't really make sense, or we make a bigger mess for ourselves, or we forget things, you know, whatever that looks like. So the reason we do visual cues is because a lot of these kids can't read yet, which is pretty normal, right? So we have picture books. I know I'm a visual learner. I prefer books like textbooks with lots of imagery. I really love bar graphs and charts and animated things that show me what I'm doing, you know. I don't like just being lectured at. So thinking of pictures and the way they trigger our brain to cue us, it's a lot easier. And having the words in there as well is going to be helpful as they start to develop their literacy skills. So you can think about which way you want to present your visual routine. So Conscious Discipline has these little books that just have plastic envelopes that you would put your pictures in, and you can write things in it with like a Sharpie. So I think these little books are like $5 a piece, but you could use construction paper or buy like a little journal. I buy these little packs of journals right before school starts. Walmart and Target have them, and they're just blank little books. So you could create whatever you wanted in there. There's all sorts of these books. I love them, so I have lots of different ones. This one's like a writing your own storybook, so it has a frame already in it and lines, which is nice, but not necessary, right? You might benefit just from having a chart on the wall. So Teachers Pay Teachers and Etsy usually has printables that can be customized for what you want. If you can use Canva, you can use PowerPoint, lots of Adobe programs. If you have those to create a chart, you don't have to be an expert at anything to create one anymore. And you can just print it. So you would just insert your pictures that way. Another way is, like, this book has these plastic envelope sleeves, basically. You can order these. I don't recall where they would be available, but they're a plastic sleeve. Maybe Michael's or something would have that, or you could create it out of whatever. And you would just attach it to like a file folder or something, some sort of like cardstock, something that's a little sturdy, maybe a plastic folder or something, and you would attach that to the wall. So if you look at Pinterest, you'll find all sorts of examples as well. I love how when I draw a blank, I go to Pinterest. So as we're creating this chart, you might realize, oh, I missed a step, and that's okay. You just create another one. Or over time, as they are maybe struggling remembering something, you might need to add another picture in there. So let's see. So we've gotten how many steps. We know the materials we're going to use and the best way to show a visual representation of that. So it could be photos of you and your child, or just your child doing the routine. You could just do like little icons or images, let's see, like clip art. So you can usually, like Canva, they have a whole library of images already, and Canva has a free program that you can use, and then you can upgrade it, and I think it's like $20 a month. So if you're somebody who likes to create a lot of things, it's a pretty easy program to use. So we have the steps, we know how we want to visually represent it, so now we need to do it. So we're going to practice going through the steps with our child, and we're going to take the pictures. Then we're going to build our booklet, and then we're going to practice with the booklet or a chart so our child knows and can see these visual cues. So if I think brushing your teeth, that typically happens 2 to 3 times a day. So if you have the same routine every time, you can practice it at different times of the day. If you have more than one caregiver, it's really beneficial to get on the same page. So whether you're separated from the other parent and there's 2 households, or maybe split schedules, or there's a grandparent that helps take care of, or you have them at daycare. I know when my son was in preschool, they started brushing their teeth after lunch. So it's good to know kind of what that routine is. So there's a lot of things about conscious discipline where they integrate some song into it. So some people will sing like the ABCs, or there's a toothbrushing song. YouTube's got several, so you can always put that on. And there's some cute things, and sometimes your preschool or daycare is already using something, so see what they're using. Because that's big in early childhood, is to have music that goes with it. So music and pictures are kind of the language of our younger kids. So we're gonna keep adding to that to support what we need support in. So we're practicing, we're going through all the steps, and then every time that they get it half right or do really well at one thing, or like know that the chart's there, anything, we want to celebrate all those little wins. It doesn't matter how small it is. And we're not going to discipline them for not using it. We need to basically go back and practice some more. So if they're not using it, or they're struggling to use it, it might be missing something that they need. Maybe the picture doesn't show well enough what they're doing, or maybe you have to be there a little bit more to support it while they practice. So it's not like all hands off just because you have this chart. It'd be nice if that was the case, but it's not. So don't feel like you've failed if something's not working. It just means it's not working yet, and there's always adjustments you can make to support you and your kid. I think over time you'll notice a huge difference in just your child's like self-esteem and their motivation to get through routines, as they're feeling like this reward and accomplishment, and it's communicating to them at a level of understanding that they get, and so they feel supported. And then it's not like us just nagging on them over and 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 over again, right? My husband and I always laugh about the things that you have to teach a kid, because it's always these random things that you're just like, man, I like forgot that somebody had to teach me how to do that. Like I think about aiming in the toilet because I have a little boy. Like that's something you have to teach them. Putting toilet seats down is something you have to teach them. To spit in the sink, and that's the only place we spit when we're brushing our teeth. That was a big one for us, because as soon as we taught the whole spitting, that became a really fun novelty, and he wanted to spit all the time. So not fun, right? We don't want spitting all of the time. So I will put links in the video to some resources so you guys can create these charts or have some ideas. I always find that useful if there's at least some direction we can go. Our next session will be on I Love You rituals, which again is probably got some visuals in it, and it's got some singing in it. If you guys have questions about anything, please feel free to message us. You can find us through Facebook and message us. You can message me straight through the YouTube channel on this video. Or you can email me. My email's embedded in here as well, and I'm happy to send you resources if I can. as we work with like conscious discipline, they are big supporters of us teaching parents involved in our programs and services, because it's all about supporting parents and the kids at home. So I have a lot of these resources, and some of them I can get to you at no cost to you, which would be amazing, right? So please let me know if you need any help or support. We have lots of things going on here at Alliance for Youth. So we do teach some parenting courses, which I fully believe every parent needs them at multiple interjections in their life. It is amazing how much I learn each time I even teach the classes, not just on reflection of myself, but going through other people's experiences as they share. I get more and more knowledge. So that's the whole point, is we learn from each other, we support each other. There's no judgment on anybody's parenting. We're all about adding to what you're already doing well. And if you have questions, helping you find resources or answers that you might need. So I look forward to seeing you guys again. We'll talk soon.